Completed it. Dinner, boys. Yeah, I went to Tough Mudder at the weekend. Fucking class day. Recommend it to anyone that's never been, but I'm still shattered from it, I can't lie. Anywho, time to talk about the topic of the conversation. So there's a lot of overwhelming things out there that might make you feel a little bit overwhelmed about what you need to be doing in order to actually get results on your fitness journey. And specifically, this can be applied mainly to fat loss, but it can also be applied to a lot of other different goals as well, such as muscle gain, strength gain, fitness, endurance, anything really. So I'm going to try and make this really simple and give you a 3-point checklist on the things that you need to be focusing on in order to actually start getting results. So the first point is nutrition. Now, nutrition is probably the most important aspect around a fat loss goal because, as we know, the only thing that causes you to lose fat is whereby you eat less calories than what you burn off consistently. So when it comes to nutrition, that should be your first point of reference. That should be your first priority. Create a calorie deficit. Eat less calories than what you're burning off. Now, obviously, in order to make that easier for yourself, you need to be also looking at the types of food that you're eating. So, for example, if you're having a decent amount of protein, that's going to make this easier. If you're eating a decent amount of fruits, vegetables, and things high in fiber and high in micronutrients, that's going to make this thing easier. If you're eating high voluminous foods and not too many high calorie foods, you're going to make this easier. So focus on creating a calorie deficit, focus on getting your protein in, focus on the majority of your food coming from high voluminous, high nutrient dense foods, and then around 20% of the foods that you eat should literally just be for adherence sake or because they taste good. Now that's nutrition out of the way. Bosh. Now, in order to help with nutrition, what you need to do is you need to also focus on your activity. Now, we use steps as simply just a way to measure and quantify activity because there isn't really a way for the general population to measure activity unless we use a measurement that could be quantified in daily life. So we know it as steps. Now, obviously, when people say steps, we really mean activity. It doesn't necessarily have to be steps that you need to get out more of, just some kind of activity. This means that if you cycle a little bit more, if you potentially do more sports, or even if you just walk around the house a little bit more, doing more chores, or even like pacing on the phone, that's going to help increase your activity, which is therefore going to mean that the amount of calories that you're burning off daily also increases, which means that you can actually eat more food and still be in a caloric deficit, making the nutritional part of fat loss a hell of a lot easier as well. Now, you're probably wondering how much more activity is enough more activity. Well, as I said, let's use the quantifiable way to measure activity and say, let's say you've got about 5,000 steps out on average. Just try and up that by 1,000. Don't try and hit 10,000 steps straight off the bat because you're going to find that really difficult to do so, especially if you live a relatively sedentary life. Instead, look at your current step count and just try and improve that by 1,000. Once you manage that, then try and improve it by another 1,000 a day. Once you've improved that, keep going until you can eventually hit that 7 to 9, maybe even a 10k mark. But for now, just try and look at your daily step count and try and increase it by about 1,000. And finally, let's look at the gym and training. So the difference between activity and training is training has intent. You need to be going intentionally to train and exercise for the sole focus of getting stronger, building muscle, and any other kind of fitness and / or health related outcome. For example, you don't walk to the shops because you want to get healthier. You walk to the shops because you want to go to the shops. You don't go to the gym just because it's the gym. You go to the gym to get stronger, to get healthier, to get fitter, to help contribute towards your fat loss. You get the idea. Now, when it comes to training, in an ideal world, especially if you're a beginner, you ideally need to be focusing on a full body routine. Now, I tend to recommend 2 full body routines, focusing on the entire body, obviously. A little bit different, just so you don't get bored about it. And you're going to do them 3 times a week, alternating which one you do twice. So let's say you've got full body A and full body B. You're going to do full body A, full body B, full body A. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And the week after, you do full body B, full body A, full body B. Now, as I said, ideally these hit your whole body. So you do a squatting exercise for your bum, for your quads. You do a hip hinge exercise for your bum and for your hamstrings. You do a horizontal push exercise for your chest, for a little bit of your shoulders and your triceps. You do a horizontal pull exercise for your back, for your biceps. And then potentially you'd also do a little bit of isolation or accessory for little parts where you want to improve more. For example, if you're a lass who wants to obviously build up their bum, you'd probably do some bum related accessory work. If you're a bloke and want to build up arms, you'd probably do some arm work such as bicep curls. And then in your other workout, you'd also do a squatting exercise, a hip hinge exercise, but this time you do a vertical push exercise for your shoulders and for your triceps, and you do a vertical pull exercise for your biceps and for your lats, and then surround that with some accessory work as well. Now, in an ideal world, you do at least 6 working sets per muscle group per week, but obviously we want to try and get as many of them out as possible, trying to even hit 12 working sets per muscle group per week. But if you're a beginner, stay at 6 and then work your way up from that point. And then you need to ideally apply progressive overload. So you wouldn't go in and do the same exercise at the same weight for the same reps every single time you go in. You'd go in and you try and progress that exercise in order to help overcome your body's adaptations. So for example, if you go into the gym and you do a overhead press at 10 kilograms for 10 reps for 3 sets, you try and go in the next day and try and get 12 reps for 3 sets. The next time you go in, you probably do 12.5 kilograms for 8 reps. Then you do 12.5 kilograms for 10 reps, and then the next time 12 reps, and then you go up to 15 kilograms with 8 reps, and then 10. You get the idea. You gradually start to progress it so the load of the weight doesn't feel as intense and doesn't feel as hard to lift it. And that, in very, very simple to understand terms, is progressive overload. And then finally, the thing that wraps it all together is mindset. Have the intuition, have the mindset to actually want to do these things and want to do these things consistently. If you do that, if you do all 3 of these pillars wrapped with the mindset of needing to do these things consistently and making it as easy, as enjoyable, as doable as what you can do, then you will get results. And that's the 3-point, technically 4-point process that you need to undertake in order to start getting the results that you want. And if you like this video, give it a like. If you've got any questions for me, comment below. I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. And if you want any more free fitness or fat loss based content without any of the bullshit, as always, please feel free to either subscribe to this channel or follow my Instagram at k.p_health. Peace.